Hey y'all. Hey. Welcome in. Let's see. I don't want this background. Happy Friday, y'all. What's going on? Let me see how that looks. That one looks better. Be bright. Or this one. No, right? Sorry, guys. Bear with me. Hit the like button while you're waiting. Let's see. Let's see. Green? We'll leave it this color for now. Happy Friday. Happy Friday. Hey, Tinker Sis. Oh, my goodness. Yeah, I know I had a long day, so excuse me. Excuse my hair. Oh, wait. I'm dropping stuff. Oh, Friday, right? TGIF. Thank goodness it's Friday. Well, for those of us that don't work on the weekends, right? Welcome in, everybody. Come on in. Hit the like button. Hey, Des. How are you? Happy Friday. Yeah, this week has been crazy, right? This week has been crazy. You know? It's just, sometimes that's all you can do is breathe. This week has been crazy for a lot of people in these streets, right? Right, look, before we get into the thing, in Old Navy, they had some shirts for Jackson, and he loves Minecraft. So how cute from Old Navy. So cute. It looks small. It's a size 6 though. It better fit him good. Hola Shayla, how are you? Happy Friday. And this one, my boy loves Minecraft. And this one, yeah, he loves Minecraft. And they were only like what? I think they were only like $5. So, I mean, I'm not sponsored by them, but if you have any young kids, definitely, shop at Old Navy because they be having some good stuff. And online, they be having coupons that make things cheaper. Those shirts came out to like $5 each. So, yeah. So today's live, obviously, it's about Briana Battle, also known as Ms Briana, also known on YouTube as Just Being Brianna. So yeah, come on in. Tonight we're gonna talk about this. It's been all over social media all week, and I've been wanting to talk about it, but work comes first, and then I was tired, so whatever. I came on with it now. Anyway, it's Friday, right? So why not, talk about something that went on in the social media streets this week. But for Brianna, it happened in real life. You know what I'm saying? So it's just sad. I would never think that you know somebody that I had a kid with would get me arrested. Like, that's crazy to me. I understand, like, sometimes things get out of hand, but to call the cops on somebody, to me, is next level. Like, wow. Because at the end of the day, you still have to co parent with that person. And why, why? Just why? Like, I don't know if it's, I don't know. I just don't know. Why did he think that it was that bad that he had to do it? And I understand sometimes, us women could get crazy and, just do things that we shouldn't do in the heat of the moment. Hey, Sarah, sis. But, to call the cops on your baby mama is too crazy for me. Especially, when just a couple months ago, well, a few months ago, it was just brought to the light like a month or two ago that he called the cops and, on her, said that, she hit him with the car and the fool was lying, you know? So we don't even know what really went on, But I could say, like, if I go to somebody's house, after spending a weekend with me laid up in my house, allegedly, who knows what happened when he was laying up in her house, what he was telling her, how close they were getting. And then during the week, he has the kids, she shows up at the house, you know, who knows what happened. And it's still all speculation. Everything that they said happened. So none of us really know what happened. Only they know what happened right now, unless Brianna spoke to somebody, in these YouTube streets or Facebook streets that really know the deal. But other than that, all we know is speculation right now. But what we really know for the truth is documented on paper is that Brianna was arrested, you know, for having issues at her kid's father's house, So according to multiple blogs, commentary pages, and, you know, the um what is it called, when they get arrested, you find out their documents, the report, the arrest report. Brianna was allegedly taken into custody earlier this week, actually on the 4th, and some kind of altercation happened involving Johnell Young, which is the father of her twins. For those of you that do not know, I'm not going to bring a picture of her or whatever up because I mean, she has been known to strike people's pages and stuff like that. So I don't even want to deal with that. But I think she got bigger, things to worry about. So I don't think she's doing that right now, but you just never know. But, you know, before we get this conversation started, let me clearly say everything we discussed tonight is, just based on what people have been saying online and actually seeing the charges, online pulled up from when she was charged, you know. It's sad. You have a kid, you first off, you go through a bad divorce, you know you go through a bad divorce, you think you found love in the midst of all the toxicity between your ex-husband, you think you found the one, but I guess he was just the one for that moment to get her through that, but one thing led to another. They got into a relationship. They had twins. Their twins are about like 14 months now. And then this happens. Not only this, for those of us that have been following her, we know that there's been much, much more during this whole relationship. So much has happened in this relationship between Bree and Johnell. So much has happened. Disgusting stuff has happened that I know many of us do not like him. we probably even during their relationship was like, girl, you can do better. You know, the moment a man disrespects you and your children, you already know where that's gonna go. He is never, no matter how much counseling you get, is just, he's not gonna change. And obviously it came true, you know? He's not gonna change. He hasn't changed, you know? He, to me, he's always been about himself. But everything I'm gonna say is allegedly, you know, until everything is confirmed, if it's ever confirmed, you know. um what really caught my attention about this story is not just the arrest, it's the pattern of relationship drama that seems to keep repeating itself over and over. Because if you've been following Brianna for a while, you remember the situation with her ex, you know, the marriage, the arguments, the divorce, the public back and forth, then moving into another relationship with the father of her twins before they had twins. And now, you know, here we are again with another situation involving police. And it makes you ask a bigger question. Why do some people struggle so hard to walk away when a relationship is clearly over? You know? Why? What is it? And now, you know, why do people keep returning to situations that keep hurting them? You know, why? There's so many questions. Why do people sometimes believe there's still hope in a relationship when the other person has already moved on? When the other person clearly only thinks about themselves? When the other person obviously doesn't give a damn about you? You know, he just, in this case, I think he just cared what she could do for him. You know, I never really saw it. Like, I definitely saw that she cared about him more, but since they had problems since literally the beginning of the relationship, it just was, it was doomed. It was doomed from the beginning, because they literally, if you guys watched them from the beginning, they literally had issues from the beginning. Like, literally, like, if you know, you know, you know. But because heartache, jealousy, and emotional confusion can turn situations very dangerous, you know, if people don't know when to step away, it can get very, very dangerous, you know? And with them, it's obviously escalating, you know? Before, cops weren't really involved, you know? Things happen. They've had altercations before, you know? You know, he spit on her, you know, allegedly. He allegedly hit her son, you know. So there's just so much that has gone on, you know, treating her bad when she was pregnant, just everything, cheating on her multiple times, allegedly. But, you know, so several social media blogs say Brianna allegedly went to Johnell Young's residence. Some reports claim another woman was present at the home, but that we do not know. We don't really know. You know, they're also saying that he took her keys and her phone, and that's the reason she stepped into his home and started the altercation with him, started arguing with him or whatever. I'm not going to say altercation, because I'm not going to say that she put her hands on him, because I don't know what happened. But they're saying that he took her keys and phone, and that's the reason why she ran after him. But we really don't know, you know. All we know for sure is that whatever happened led her to getting arrested, you know. And that's why stories like this always catch people's attention, because most of us have either experienced or witnessed relationship arguments that went too far, you know. It's just really crazy. And um little arguments or just arguing at the door, and then the way he reacts can make an argument escalate quickly, especially if she's trying to talk to him. Maybe he did have somebody in the house, he was acting funny, she realized it. And especially, you guys have to remember, he was over at her house last weekend. So who knows, this is still a fresh breakup. It's just a few months of a breakup, even a couple of months, because even during the holidays they were together. So you just never know what he was feeding her. You know what I'm saying? Hey BFF, what's good? What's good? Happy Friday. Have a good night at work. And thank you for passing through, and thank you for having me on. So yeah, emotions are running high, especially during breakups. You still have it in your mind that maybe, you could rekindle things, or, things can change and get better and you guys can get back together, especially when you have babies in common, babies that only a year old, you know and then the pride and the ego during conflicts and arguments and stuff too. But I could imagine somebody take your keys and your phone, run inside their house, allegedly. What the hell you gonna do? Of course you're gonna go get your shit. You gotta go home, right? And you want to take your babies home. But the story is a little bit weird, because I don't know, why would he do that knowing he had a female in his house, if he really did. But then again, there are some men out there that they like that shit. They want the drama. You know what I'm saying? They want to start something. And he's been itching to get her arrested. So she fell for it. She fell for the trap. And I know that her emotions would probably running high and stuff like that, but she has got herself in a lot of situations, being hot headed and things like that. And she definitely should have learned from her past. And I really hope that she learned this time, because this is ridiculous. What kind of man gets his, you know, kid's mother arrested? What kind of father? Especially knowing that not only does she have your children, but she has other children, that she is the main person that's always there with them, day in and day out, making sure that they go to school, making sure they wake up, making sure they're fed. And come on now, they're not used to their mother not being there, you know and then for her to be arrested and be in jail for 2 days, that's crazy. I mean, 2 days is 2 days. I don't give a damn. who the hell who the hell wants to be, you know, in jail? Nobody. I don't give a damn if it's for 2 days. Shit. Nobody wants to be in jail for 2 days, Have y'all ever seen a breakup argue, or have you ever seen a breakup argument escalate way further than it should have? You know, I definitely have, you start, you say you're breaking up, and then you one of either one of you start asking why and what. Sometimes, especially girls, how we are, would be like, oh, what, you have somebody else? And then from there it just escalates real quick. You tired tonight, Shayla? Aw, it's Friday, but I know where you are, you have that hot weather, so of course you get tired faster. Do you think people should avoid confronting exes in person? I think that she was really there. I don't know if she was even really there to get her kids. I think she was, because I did see that he was with them. So I could believe that story, but why? I don't understand. Why did she have to go pick up the children? Why couldn't he bring the children to her? Or why couldn't they meet halfway or be at a police station. Why, especially with the foolishness he, you know, did last time trying to get her arrested over the freaking car. Why would she even do that? Knowing that he's a bitch ass that would try to get her arrested. Why, Bree? Why even get yourself in that? Why? Come on now. I really hope that you've learned your lesson and realized that these ninjas ain't shit, especially the ones that you deal with, that you dealt with. One thing people online keep bringing up is the pattern of relationships, and I see it. You know, it was an issue when with her high school sweetheart that she had 3 kids with. It was the same thing with her husband, and now her twin's father. You know, this is not the first time Brianna's relationship drama has played out publicly, especially as a, social media influencer or digital creator, whatever you want to, call her. Everything is out in the open, especially when you bring it out in the open. So, of course, people are going to notice patterns, and even the ones that have been supporting you for almost 4 years or more, before, even during the marriage. Of course we're going to see the patterns, and that doesn't mean that we care any less. We just want to see different because we know that you can do better. You're a beautiful girl, you're a beautiful woman, because you're not a little girl anymore. You're not a girl, you're in your 30s already. You're not a little girl. It's time to step away from these F boys, and get you somebody that actually cares about you, that you don't have to lead with your pocket, that will do for you, and then you can do for yours. Not even that they do for you and yours, that they do for you and you do for yours. And then when time tells, then they can do for both of you. But even though I think right now, you definitely need to just be alone for a little while. Hey, Terry. Welcome in, welcome in. Yeah, so I definitely think that it's time to, pause the dating scene, pause. You don't need to deal with anybody right now. Go back into your self-love phase. Start loving on yourself more. Love on your children. Take those vacations that you was taking. Take them with your children now. Forget about these guys. Because the pattern is telling, and I think it's time for you to just maybe step away from the dating scene. And when you're ready to start dating, maybe date somebody that is opposite of what you would usually go for. I know that's hard sometimes because we are attracted to certain people and certain actions and things like that. But what I have learned, as I'm getting older, is the saying opposites do attract. I think that's true, and sometimes that's the best way to go, the opposite of what you would normally go for, because that might be the one that's meant for you. Find that person. I remember when you first broke up with your husband, you wanted to go with somebody that believed in God and was really into church and things like that. And although I don't know if what Johnell's beliefs are. I know that he did go to church with you and things like that, but I'm not sure how into it he really was. But, your next person, let them be loving on you, helping you grow. You help each other grow, and that he is into, the Lord like you are. Hey, Jazzy. Hey, Lashana. How are you? Yes, spend time with your kids because time goes too fast. And yeah, start going on your vacations again. I haven't seen you go on a vacation in a while. I think it's time, when spring break comes along, I think it's time for you to go on a family spring break because there's really nothing going on for you in Georgia right now. Take your kids, have some fun, And I really think that since you were thinking about moving to I think it was North Carolina, I think that's your best bet at this point. If you can, definitely do so. It's time to start new. Leave your past relationships in Georgia, Leave them. Leave them. They can travel, you guys can travel halfway to, give the kids to their kids' fathers when it's time for them to watch them and just start your new life because it's time. It's definitely time. People usually repeat until someone heals or changes their choices, or in some cases, until someone gets hurt. And we don't want to see anybody get hurt, you know? And this is one step to getting hurt. You, Brianna, landing up in jail, What's next? What else could have happened? A lot of people jump from relationship straight into another without healing from the last one. And when that happens, the same emotional problems show up. If you didn't know how to communicate and deal with your emotions in your marriage, you just jumping into the next relationship wasn't good, you know? Her jumping into the next relationship wasn't good. And I know, sometimes you just need somebody to take your mind off of things, and one thing leads to another and you think you're in love. But we all know that was not love. That was definitely lust from the beginning, you know and then it just kept going, from him disrespecting her, from him disrespecting, even her husband with their child. Like, it was just a whole bunch of things. That man definitely never wanted good for her. He might even be a little jealous of her, that even though he is an actor, she still was able to just stay home, be on social media, and probably still make more money than him while he's doing, movies. So I could see, him being a little jealous of her, you know? What you guys think? Those of you that know about Brianna, if anybody knows about Brianna and Johnell, do you think that maybe he could be a little bit jealous of her? Hey, Sassy. Nice to see you. Nice to see you. Nice to see you. Yes, I'm glad you made it. I'm glad you made it. Hey, Vet. Happy Friday, everybody. Happy Friday. Yeah, so I'm talking about Brianna. I don't know if you guys know about her. She's a social media influencer, and this week her child's father, who she was arrested this week for having a, problem with her kids, her twins, her 1-year-old twins' father, and she was arrested this week. She did get out today. She was in jail for about 2 days, about 48 hours, but still, 2 days is 2 days. You know what I'm saying? And us females just have to do better. You know what I'm saying? We have to know our worth. We have to know when to let go, when to walk away. You know what I'm saying? Especially when we know a ninja is petty as fuck and will do something like this to us. We have to learn how to walk away, because who the hell wants to be in jail? Who? Who? Nobody. Like, come on now. While he's still laid up in the house, probably with whatever female, or even another female, because he's always been, you know, with females. He's always been that type, you know? So while you're stressed out in jail, crying, probably missing you, of course, not probably, but missing your damn kids, work, thinking about your kids, what they're doing, if they get into school, even if people close to you are watching them, you still worry because you're their mother. You're there every single day, literally. Because nobody can say anything about that when it comes to Brianna. She is a damn good mother. Like, yeah, she might, talk, have no like transparency, in front of them, but she's not the only one that feels like she doesn't have to hide anything from her children. I see plenty of people in real life do that too, that, you know, they don't hide anything from their children. Is that right? I'm not going to say yes. Is it wrong? I'm not going to say it is. You know what I'm saying? Every parent, has their right of doing whatever they want. If they want to be transparent with their kids and teach them the real world, and teach them, hopefully their kids see that and say, you know what, I don't want to ever be in a relationship like that. And hopefully they're the type that learn from it, you know? But that's why, hey, Jamaica, welcome in, welcome in. Nice seeing you again. Yeah, so, um, and these it was basically a rebound relationship. She literally should have just kept it a rebound relationship. That she should have just had some fun, for a little while, and then kept it moving. But no, she had something to prove to the social media streets, not even to the world. She had something to prove to the social media streets. When she met him, she acted like he was the best person. He was him. He was, top tier, basically, you know? And he turned out to be shit. Like the shit that you step on the bottom of your shoe. He ain't shit. you know and that's why you have to be careful with these rebound relationships, because most of the time they do not last. Sometimes they do, but most of the time they do not last. And especially when you have emotional baggage that you didn't even really deal with. You basically jump from one toxic relationship to the next. You had so much emotional baggage that you didn't unpack, that you just brought it to the next relationship, and then you just started putting more stuff into the baggage. You know what I'm saying? Repeating those toxic dynamics, and that never works. you know Yeah. Sassy says, I agree with you about him hating on her for making more money than him. Yeah. He probably feels like he has to do all this, to make his bag. And all she has to do is literally look pretty, literally. That's all she has to do. Put on some makeup, do her hair, put on some cute outfits, and that's it. Show her kids because they're beautiful too, and everybody likes that family dynamic. But that's all she has to do. How easy is that? And then to make like 5 figures a month over just that? Come on now. Of course he was jealous. Of course he's jealous. But he knew what he was, going into from the beginning. And even with the shit with her ex-husband, you know, he knew. He knew it all. And he tried to play in everybody's face. He played in her face. He played in her kid's face. He played in her father's face. He played in her ex-husband's face, you know, and with her ex-husband's child, try to act like he was going to be the best daddy in the world. And what he is now, nobody. He never really loved them kids, you know. So of course, yes, he has his own, and of course he loves his kids, but he never loved her or her kids, you know? So, this is something I want to talk about too because it happens all the time. Sometimes relationships end, but the communication doesn't, you know? People still text, still check on each other, still flirt, When he sees her, he probably slaps her ass or something like that. You know how these guys do. Come, please, there's people that I haven't seen for years, and every time they see me, they still tell me they love me and things like that. So imagine somebody that has kids, not even a year. I mean, they're a year, they're 14 months. So imagine, still flirting, still leave the door open for whatever, you know. But what about if one person already basically moved on, started talking to people, you know, screwing people, screwing someone else, you know, being with people intimately, you know? And then the other person has no idea or has a little bit of idea, but doesn't think that it's that serious because they think that they could still get back together. Maybe she had hoped that they would still get back together, you know? That's when that emotional confusion starts happening, you know, especially like I said, if she goes over there, who knows if she goes over there for a booty call, and then him spending time even overnight in her house, as an excuse to be with the kids. But come on now, we all know what happens when a baby daddy or a baby mama stay over, you know. Sometimes it's innocent, I can't front, because I've seen it. But in their case, we all know they were sleeping in the same bed when he stood there. You know, even if he didn't you know, whisper sweet nothings to her, she just probably still had something, you know, she had those feelings that maybe they could get over whatever and eventually get back together, especially if they're still intimate and things like that. You just never know. And, when you have kids with somebody, you hope to be able to rekindle whatever because you really, even though you could do it, you don't really want to raise the kids alone. Brianna thought it was funny when he got his ex Chrissy locked up and she was over at the house. Now she in the same scenario. It's unfortunate, but what makes you laugh will make you cry. Yep, Jazzy. That's a fact. She should have known from then, right? She had all the signs, all the red flags from the beginning of that relationship. She had all the red signs. He started manhandling her within the month of them um seeing each other. The month of her seeing each other, he started manhandling her, you know? And then asking her to be his girlfriend while basically he was still with Chrissy. Like, it's just a whole bunch of bullshit that I wish she would have just, walked away from the beginning. Like I said, have some fun and keep it moving. He wasn't meant to, well, I guess it was meant because it happened, but she shouldn't have gave him the opportunity to make her a mother again and have his children, because this is just another, because who knows if they could be grown and get over it. Because look how long it took her and even the first three kids' father to start getting along. And then look how long it took for her ex-husband and her to get along and start co-parenting. It's really just a never-ending cycle, unfortunately, you know? Some people don't want the relationship, you know? But they also don't want to lose you. They don't want to lose the attention. They don't want to see you with someone else. So they're going to keep, reeling you in, making you think that you have a chance. and all along they just want to have their cake and eat it too. They want to do what they want to do, but yet still have you on standby. And that's how it seems like Johnell is. He's trying to have her on standby, you know? But she needs to wake up and realize, especially now, like, no, girl, no, he is not the one. He is not the damn one, you know? Do y'all think it's wrong for someone to keep an ex emotionally attached while they're dating someone new? Or do you think that, he should just be straight up honest, and when it comes to the children, they should meet like halfway, and he take the children to his house, but not go to her house and stay over? I think that when he wants to see the children, don't come to my house. And you're definitely not staying over. Because if it's over between us, it's over for you staying over. It's over for you being that close to me again. And that's what it is. People need to, you know, put their foot down and set boundaries. Don't let a ninja just walk in and walk out whenever he feels like it. You know, come. Oh yes. Oh yeah. You can see the kids. Oh, are you gonna stay over? No, don't do that. Don't do that. He has his own house. Let him take his children, for the day, for whatever, because I'm sure he has to work around his schedule, because he still is working. But, he want to see his children. Sure, here you go. But let him bring them to his house, and don't go to his house. You don't pick them up. He's going to have to bring them back home to you. Or, like I said, meet in a designated place like a police station. Or just get a damn third party at this point. Get a damn third party, because this is just crazy. And, with everything going on in the world, especially with mental health and everything, you just never know what could happen. I always think about the worst, because the worst been happening lately with people's mental health, and not being emotionally right in the head, not knowing how to deal with rejection, you know? So it's really time that Brianna woman up. It's time to be a woman. You're not in your teens like you were with your first, you're not in your early 20s like you were during when you first got married and through your marriage. You're not in your 20s. You're in your 30s now. You know, you're in your 30s. You're about to be in your mid 30s. It's time to wake up, notice the red flags, and keep it moving. And just stay single for a long time. Stay single, because it's not worth it at this point. Do what you have to do to grow within you and for your family, for your children. Do what you got to do for you. And then eventually a man that's meant to be, will be. And you'll be in a good relationship. And hopefully you'll be in a good headspace by then. And that you'll be able to think about everything what you went through, and learn from that, and then know what you not gonna do in the next relationship. Because sometimes, we can be hard-headed, and that's why I can't blame it on her, because sometimes our emotions do get, all out of whack when we're in love, and it's not easy to walk away, because it's easier said than done. You could say walk away, why you didn't walk away? But when you have an attachment to somebody, it's hard to walk away. It really is, you know. But hopefully, she learned from this. You know, I really hope she learned from this. And yes, she definitely seen all those red flags. He's been showing those red flags from the beginning. It ain't hard to see, Freaking all of us saw. All of us saw from the beginning. From that freaking whatever it was that they were recording when they came to New York back then when they first started, and that's when the issue started, you know? Like we all knew. And then it just escalated, you know? He didn't take long to disrespect her, to disrespect her kids. He didn't take long. And little by little, respect was lost, you know, from both of them. You know, because I'm not gonna say it's all his fault either. Because I know Bree can get, you know, rude and freaking that you want to smack her. Because we all seen it. We all seen it, you know. Um, but we know what he has done too. And imagine the things we didn't see, you know. So a lot of things that trigger situations like this is jealousy, you know, let's be real. Watching someone you love move on, you know, knowing that they're with somebody else, whether it's just a fling or whatever, you know, you just broke up, you have little kids by him, only 1 year old babies with him. You know, you don't want to see them move on that freaking quick. Well, I don't know. I mean, with me, I didn't care when I broke up with Jackson's father. I was like, see ya, you know? Like, I didn't even care. Like, literally, I did not care, like, if he was moving on or whatever. It was just, I was done, you know? But not everybody's like that. So of course it hurts when you see somebody you love move on, you know, especially if you thought there was any kind of chance, you know. I hope she learned her lesson because this is going to make her look bad in court. I know, Jazzy. I know. I've been thinking about that too, you know. And then she has to think about like everything, you know. She's not only in court with one kid's father. You know, she's in court with two kids' fathers. So she has to be careful. She really does. She has to start moving different because no matter what, I do not want to see her lose her children, you know? Sorry, I had to mute the sirens. But yeah, I don't want to see her lose her children no matter what. Like, she's not that bad of a mother for her to lose her children. And anybody that thinks so is messed up because she's not that bad that she needs to lose her children. You know, she's a good mother. She's there for the, you know, she does what she got to do, you know, more than their fathers don't even really take care of the kids. So she definitely is not that bad, you know, to lose her children. But she got to freaking be smart about things, you know. You're freaking feeling rejected can get you in a messed up situation. And that's why you have to think and just learn how to deal with your emotions. I know rejection sucks, but you know, it's life. You know, you'll move on. She's been hurt plenty of times and she knows that she could get over it. But I know when you think you have a chance with somebody or a chance of rekindling, you know, and getting your family back together, which that is something I believe she wants, you know, very much. She just wants a family. She's always just wanted a family. She wants a family, you know, and I don't blame her, but unfortunately it didn't work out, you know. Sometimes people react emotionally instead of just thinking logically because those emotions just overpower all the other feelings, you know. You could be the smartest person in the world, but for some reason love, boy, when you feel love, you could be dumb in love, you know? And then social media making it worse. And you do have to watch the company you keep because the company you keep, they're gonna set you either way. Either they're gonna tell you the truth and tell you, girl, you're doing too much or whatever, or they're gonna enable you and say, you know what? Yeah, go, girl, get dressed, look cute, go to his house, make him see what he's missing. You always have those two, there's always two different kind of friends. The ones that are with the shits and the ones that want you to move on and see that it isn't for you and is not afraid to tell you, you know? But unfortunately, I know in the past for sure, the people that were willing to tell her, girl, what the hell are you doing? She, pushed them away. And the ones that were there to enable her, she kept them, and they're still around. But the ones that, weren't afraid to tell her the truth, she pushed them away. And those were probably the friends that she really needs in her life, especially during times like this. But I know feeling replaced is a hurtful thing, you know, feeling replaced or feeling like like you didn't mean anything to the person you love, that they were so easily able to move on. That's a messed up feeling, especially when, you think you're her, when you think, you're not lacking, that you got it all together, you know, you kept feeling replaced is a messed up feeling. But social media has made these breakups even harder because now everything is just in plain sight for everybody to watch, for everybody to judge, especially when you're putting it on your page. You have these people, commenting everything, and there's a lot of people that do not like her. So they will say the most hateful things, but she brings it to the she brings it to the internet, you know. But I really, really hope that, first of all, I'm glad that she's out. I'm glad that she's able to be with her children. I'm glad that she's okay, because you just never know. Anything can happen. So I'm definitely glad that she's home with her children. That's where she's supposed to be. You know, I really hope that she leaves him alone. Because one thing that almost always escalates situations is showing up in person. Like, I really don't even know the dynamics and why she showed up. But I know now she wishes she didn't show up. Showing up to someone's house, you just never know. It could have been worse than getting arrested. She could be unalived right now. How, with all these stories going on about exes and arguments and unaliving, there's so much more that could have occurred. you know Showing up looking for someone, showing up looking for answers is just not freaking worth it. And those moments can definitely go left very, very fast. So we really have to think, and not only the ladies, the men too. Men have to think about what they're, you know, telling these women too. Like, if you're not going to be real with a woman about how you feel, and you're, you know, acting like there's actually a chance for you guys to rekindle and be together again, when deep down that's not what you want, stop doing that. You know? Just stop doing that. Stop being afraid of her moving on just because you want to keep her on a standby, on standby. Stop doing that. Let her go. All you're doing is hurting her, you know? And things can definitely go left, and we definitely don't want to see anybody get hurt. And I think after a breakup, it should be just that. Keep your distance, keep the co-parenting going on and stuff like that. Be a good father, be a good mother, learn how to communicate, because not communicating is not good either. So yes, move on and all that, but be able to co-parent and communicate and talk cordially, even if you don't like the other person's actions and things like that. For your children, learn how to co-parent, be cordial, and just keep your distance. Influencer relationships are different because everything happens publicly. Fans are watching, people are speculating, rumors spread quickly, and that kind of pressure can make situations worse. And I know Johnell is a upcoming actor. He's in these movies. Who knows where his career might take him. And things like this should not be happening. And even Brianna, because I know she wants to, do a little acting and a little modeling and having these brand deals. You think these brand deals are going to even give you a chance, knowing that you're getting arrested, that you're getting into altercations with your baby daddy? They're not going to want to sponsor you or whatever, especially companies that are about family and things like that. They're not going to even want to be tied to you. And come on now, Brie, you have potential. You have potential to, get those big brand deals. You just need to keep your distance from this man, because he does not want you to grow, and be better. He wants to keep you at a certain level. He doesn't want you to make more money than him. He just wants to keep you at a certain level that you're not doing better than him. And we want to see you grow. The people that believe in you want to see you grow as a mother, as a parent, as a parent. It's the same thing. As a parent, you know, as an influencer, I don't hate you. I want to see you grow. And I know you have potential, for a lot of brands, and hopefully bigger brands. You like makeup and stuff like that. How about if Mac gets in contact with you, whatever, L'Oreal, whatever or even Walmart, Sephora, whatever the hell, and then for family stuff, what about kids clothing, H&M, Disney, this, that. There's so many brand deals that if you keep getting in trouble, they're not even going to look your way. So please, just do better. Just do better. Sarah, he's in some movie right now, actually, on, what is it, Apple TV? It's called End Zone. And he was in that Wu-Tang show too. He was one of the characters. And a couple more. The Something Society, if one of you guys remember it. Is Something the Society, or is it the Society? I don't know. I never got into him like that, because honestly, although that I supported her, I wasn't feeling him from the beginning, and I'm not going to act like I did. I never felt him. I could feel his energy. I don't know. I never even watched the movies. I never even watched the movies. So I don't know. Oh, but I actually, on the Wu-Tang show, he was good. He was Jizza, right? Yeah, he was Jizza in the Wu-Tang series. So yeah. So he's in a few movies. He's in a few movies, you know? And who knows, But him too. Him getting into stuff like this, you think that they're going to want to put him in their movies? So he has a lot to lose as well, you know? He has a lot to lose as well. So they both have a lot to lose, She has potential, brand deals and things like that. And he has his whole career he could lose, you know, because he's still young, and in the acting field, the entertainment field, you could be whatever age, So he still has a lot of years if he wants to be an actor. So he better chill out. He better stop his fucking bullshit, especially in Georgia. You know how many acting opportunities come from Georgia? You better chill out. They both do, you know? But I know it has to be very like humiliating, you know, to be locked up over arguing with your dad. I mean with your dad. I'm reading something. Being locked up over your baby daddy, like that's so stupid, and so wrong. And it's just crazy to me because I know none of my baby daddies will ever try to get me locked up, no matter how crazy I get, you know? But come on now. But the only way I could understand is if she was like breaking windows and things like that. Like if she was in there just damaging his whole property, breaking his windows, breaking his oven, breaking his TV, breaking his car windows, then I could understand. He can't let that go. That kind of stuff can't be let go. Or putting her hands on him. But but just arguing or whatever, I don't see it. I don't know. I just don't get it. She was in jail, Sarah. She was in jail for 2 days. She got out today, actually. She got out today. Yes. So we don't really know the reason, The speculation is that she went to his house to pick up her children. They started arguing about something. I don't know. He took her keys allegedly and her phone, so of course she ran after him. They started arguing. He was in the house with a female and it went from there. That's the speculation, but we don't know, the details just yet. I'm sure by tomorrow we'll have the exact details or even by later on tonight. But right now, that's the story. So, yeah. Oh la la. I tell you. So some people are saying, Brianna keeps choosing the wrong men. And, as a supporter, I see it. I do see the pattern. I do see her keep choosing the wrong men, But sometimes the real issue is the emotional patterns. If someone hasn't healed from past trauma, they may attract the same type of relationship again and again, over and over. At one point, I'm not going to lie, I was that type that attracted the same kind of man, the same kind of relationship over and over, 33 and 34. Yeah, 33 and 34. He took her phone and keys and he had another female in the house. That don't sound right. That's what I said. I said, why would he take her keys and her phone if he had a female in the house? Wouldn't he want to throw her phone out the door, if anything? Not take the phone and run in the house. But they're saying that it could have been him trying to be toxic and that's what he wanted, to start something. But it doesn't sound right. And I said it doesn't sound right. It really doesn't. But that's what happens. You ignore the red flags from the beginning. You give too much too soon. You lead with your pockets, and then you get emotionally dependent on someone. She looked to him as her what is it, knight in shining armor, when they first got together. She was going through it already for like what, like 2 or 3 months, 2.5 months when they met, and she wanted him to be her knight in shining armor, but in reality it was like she was his, because she's the one that did way more for him. you know she was loving, she was financially there. you know she had it basically made. Look at his social media, his platform. I forgot how many he started with. I know it was a very little. And now I looked over there and I was surprised to see he has 175,000 followers now. And I remember when they first started, he only had like, it was like 5 digits of followers. I don't know if it was 30,000 or 11,000 or whatever, but I know it was a little bit. And now he got 175,000. So who really gained here? Who really gained here? He's a womanizer. Hi, Jules. How are you? Yeah, he definitely is a womanizer. He is a womanizer. He was even like that when he first got with her. He treated his ex Chrissy like shit. You know, asking her to be his Valentine even while he was still with Chrissy. Even when they met in California, he was with Chrissy. You know, but that's what happens in rebounds. She took the rebound too far. And now look what happens. Now two innocent children are involved. They're only 14 months old. It's just a lot of nonsense, you know? But one thing that makes situations like this even more serious is when the children are involved. There's children involved. Not only their twins, but her other 4 children that see all this day in and day out, you know? Because even if the relationship ends, the parents are still connected forever, forever, as long as those children are, in good health. And when you have a toxic relationship, when you break up, it's really, really hard to have a good co-parenting relationship. I just don't know how it's gonna work now, especially, her getting locked up. She's gonna resent him, and she's probably gonna be even more of a bitch towards him, and he's probably gonna be even more petty towards her. Like, how is this gonna work? How are they gonna be able to just be great parents for their children dealing with all of this? And now definitely court is gonna have to get involved. I've always been the type, if I don't have to get the court involved, even better. If we could freaking deal with this situation out of court, I love it. That's how I've always been. You want your kid, have your kid. You want to see your kid, see your kid. Like, you want to pick him up from school, go ahead. You want to take him to school in the morning, go ahead. you know like, I've never been the top type just because I'm hurt to stop, their fathers from seeing their kids. That's petty, you know? That's not something you hold against these fathers, especially if they're trying to be good fathers, you know? So unfortunately, I really, these children are most important right now. They really are. The children are what matters right now. And I really hope, thank God their children are very little right now. So they're so innocent that they do not know what's going on. Thank goodness for that. But they're not going to be, little for long. So they both, Brianna and Johnell, need to stop their shit. You know, they both need to just move on. He has to stop sending her mixed signals. I want her to be able to walk away because I know there's somebody better waiting for her. And not right now. Maybe in 2 years. Maybe in 2 years. But not now. you know but there's also a lot of emotional manipulation that goes on, not just physical abuse. And I don't know if there's physical abuse, so I'm not going to even say physical abuse, but emotional games, keeping someone attached, giving them hope, but never fully committing, knowing that you're broken up. Sometimes people try to do certain things to keep you invested, you know, and that kind of confusion can push people to their breaking point. And who knows what happened over the weekend? And maybe it did push her to her breaking point this week, and that's why she went to his house. Who knows? We don't know. Only they really know what happened. But we definitely have to stop choosing the wrong partner just because they fill a certain void, because it'll get you caught up. It'll definitely get you caught up like this. So, question for you guys that are watching this or on the replay: who do you think is usually responsible when situations like this escalate? The person who can't let go, or the person who keeps giving mixed signals? The question was, who do you think is really responsible when situations like this escalate? The person who can't let go, or the person who gives mixed signals? People be crazy, making noise out the window. A random noise. I think it's both. The person who can let go needs to learn how to walk away and do better for themselves and realize that this is just a feeling, that eventually they will get over. And the person that's giving the mixed signals is definitely wrong, because if you know you don't want anything with that person, learn to let them go. Stop giving mixed signals, grow up and move on yourself too. So both are wrong. And what's crazy though? Almost everyone knows someone who went through something like this, a relationship that shouldn't or should have ended peacefully, but it kept going back and forth, break up, get back together, break up again, arguments, drama, and eventually something serious happens. You know? When the kids are involved, things became even more complicated, because even if the relationship ends, the parents have to deal with each other, you know? So at the end of the day, no relationship should ever reach a point where police are involved. That's when you know things have gone way too far, way too far. Hopefully, whatever is going on gets resolved peacefully, but this situation should be a reminder to everyone that sometimes the strongest thing you can do is walk away. Walk away for you, walk away for your mental, walk away for your children. Just walk away. Somebody's outside being annoying. So, yeah, I do wish Brianna the best, you know. I hope that I hope she's able just to get it together and realize that he's not the one for her. You know, if someone could get you arrested over something like, you know, an argument, they were waiting for that moment. They were waiting for that to be your downfall. Don't let it be your downfall. Let it be a lesson and, you know, and a blessing. And yes, I say a blessing because it's a lesson for you to learn to move on and that he's really not for you, you know. And that's a blessing in itself because you have another day, another opportunity to walk away and just learn from your mistakes because shit happens, you know. So me as a woman, I'm not thinking anything negative towards you because shit happens, you know. We've all had, you know, times where our emotions, you know, take over. So I just want you to do better for yourself and your family, especially those children, you know. It's time for you to go heal the correct way, you know. Go heal the correct way. Stay single for a little while and hopefully your Prince Charming will come along. Hey Tamik. Hey sis, happy Friday. So yeah, at the end of the day, relationships ending is painful, but sometimes the strongest thing someone can do is just walk away before it escalates, you know? Because once legal issues start, that can change someone's life forever. And I do not want Brianna to miss out on any, you know, deals or anything for her future because anything that comes along for her, any opportunities will also help her children, you know? And I just want to see her grow, you know? Being young is no longer a excuse. Brianna is 33, going on 34, you know? Being young is no longer an excuse. There has to be a time where you just learn from your mistakes, hold yourself accountable, and just keep moving for the better for you, you know? Because at the end of the day, no one got you like you got you know? Hey, MMG sis. So I do pray for her. I pray for her children. You know, I pray for the whole thing. I just hope that, you know, this is just a little bump in the road that they're able to overcome, that they learn to co-parent, you know, and just live life, you know. This is not the end of the story, you know. This is just the end of the chapter because they have to be parents for those twins forever. So this is just another chapter in the Briana Battle book that has to, you know, the page has to turn and she just has to keep her own story going and hopefully it'll be positive. Yep, MMG, yes. Pretty girl, but she needs to, yep. Like, yeah, I've been on for over an hour already. I talked about that, all the patterns, you know. It's her patterns. She needs to learn how to deal with her emotions, have to stop going for the same type of man, you know. She has potential to do better. She just has to be in it, you know. She just has to want to. And she also just needs to stay single for a little while. This time, literally she went from her marriage to her relationship. So she really needs some time alone, you know? She literally went from her marriage to a relationship. She didn't give it no time. She was broken up for like 2 months or separated 2 months from her ex-husband, and then boom, relationship. And then for the last 3 years she's been in that toxic relationship with Johnell. So yeah, she definitely needs to. But you know, there was a time when, I was toxic, and I learned from my mistakes. So I believe she can learn from hers too. So yeah, guys. So if you come in later, you would like to watch the replay, I really appreciate it. Um, yeah, please like, share, comment, subscribe, and I will catch you guys on the next one. Thanks for coming in. And if you're watching the replay, don't forget to comment so I can know that you were here. I'm still on the road to 1K. So help a sister out, guys, and subscribe, subscribe, subscribe. I'm almost there, but slow and steady does win the race. So I will catch you guys later. I do have another topic I would like to talk about. I don't know if I'm going to do it tonight or tomorrow, but that's another topic that I would like everybody to join, especially, the females, because I want to talk about just friendships and sisterhood. I was talking about that earlier this week, and I do want to do another show live about it. And I would like all the women to be present because I would like to hear everybody's opinions and what they think a friendship is and how to go about certain things, you know? Because that seems to be the topic this week. Besides this, friendships, sisterhoods, and stuff like that been definitely the topic. So, thank you guys. Happy Friday. Thank you for joining.